Welcome back to another edition of Eric's Corner with the word of the not so wise. Going to do another TED Talk with my neighbor Aaron. If you've been keeping up, you saw our conversation from a few weeks ago. Had really good reaction to it, and thankfully it wasn't too good, or else we would have to have an internet show together, which would be okay also. So, Aaron, welcome
Yeah.
back to the show.
Good to be back.
We're going to talk about general American culture, what we got going on with the victim worship and why these fringe minority groups of people think that all of society needs to cater to them.
Right.
You have the floor.
Okay. Well, I mean, the more time you spend on the internet, the more you typically see all of these individuals that they're trying to drive their own. How would you say that? I mean, they're trying to drive their own lifestyles through the victim culture. They enhance what they're capable of getting away with in society. It's almost like a child who's acting out, and they want to get away with something. They want to have more available to them. So then they use that victim culture to develop a sense of like, well, look what, how dare you stifle us? We should be able to do all these things. And I think that's one of the big takeaways for me is when the victim culture typically will result in a sense of entitlement. And it's, life isn't always hard. It's not always easy, and it's not always fair. It's oftentimes hard. And the victim culture it's kind of off-putting, because anybody who does work hard or doesn't play the victim and does see themselves as just an individual who's trying to do what they should be doing in life, they look around and they see everybody doing those poor me episodes, and it really it's difficult to watch.
Well, so what, in your opinion, is it the internet poisoning people, or is it people poisoning the internet? So I've got to put my video out for clout and,
Yeah.
oh, look at me, I'm helping fix up this community. No, you're taking a picture holding a drill. You're
Right.
not actually doing anything. Or you go to a restaurant as a man, and then when the guy says, "Thank you, sir," "Oh, I was misgendered, I need to sue you, let me talk to a manager." I mean, come on, dude. Nobody's buying it.
No. Yeah.
A few people are, but they're just as worthless. So.
Well, and I think that's in response to what you were saying, that, a few people poison the internet, and then the internet poisons a grand number of people. I mean, that's really what
that's
it
why
is.
I have you on the show for shit like that right there.
Well,
you just nailed it, I think.
It's the culture of developing a ruckus. I mean, some of the few people who can dive on the internet, and they probably have all day and night to deal with these things, because they don't have a lot of goals in life. They probably don't have a lot of
good paying enough job.
Paying job. They probably don't have a lot of self-esteem, things like that. I'm sure that the people who are on the internet developing these awkward, weird cultures of poor me, they can't have anything that they're really proud of in life, or else why would they be doing that? They'd be off living their life.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a small group of people who have nothing better to do, and they're angry, and they don't feel like life was fair to them because they didn't get ahead, probably because they didn't work very much. And I'm not saying you can work hard your whole life and still not get ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the deck is going to be stacked against you. It's just life, I mean, it does take a little bit of luck. It really does. I mean, you can work as hard as
right place at the right time.
Right. I mean, if you're in the right place at the right time, you have the right support system, you have the right outlet, you have, all these things can lead to success. And you can find success on your own. It's very difficult. You can find success on your own merit, but with the help of others, which is usually how it has to happen. So, anybody who doesn't have a good support group, who's not maybe a social creature, can't get along with others, or doesn't have a product that's good enough that on its own merit can drive them to the top. And these people, they get bitter, and they get upset, and they get angry, and then they lash out. And the internet's the perfect place for that, because there is no sense of, well, I might have to pay the piper someday on this. Yeah. They just get to hide behind their computer. We've talked about that before.
No accountability.
Keyboard warriors. Yeah, no accountability. So, and those people, they drive this concept. They seed the internet with the ideal that the whole thing is completely screwed, and we're all, your curly hair is what's holding you back because somebody said your curly hair wasn't good enough, and it's
Yeah.
like, and then there are people in the
My
world.
curly hair is awesome, by the way. You
Well,
can
it
see
is,
it.
but there are people in the world who think that, well, I wouldn't say they think, but necessarily they're open to the concept that, yeah, why not? I mean, that could explain it. I work hard. I think I'm of value. What is holding me back? Why can't I get ahead? It must be somebody else. It must be that. It couldn't
Yeah.
be me. Couldn't be my work ethic. It couldn't be the
It's
fact
taxes
that
in the government, by the way. That is holding you back.
that sounds about right. Yeah, yeah. But it's the fact of the matter
You're
that
welcome.
people are willing to buy in because it's a simple solution. Doesn't
Well,
take much self-reflection.
People go to the government for solutions to the problem that government caused in the first place. Like government has failed at everything. And what was really crazy about the Obama administration is the military has some really good philosophies and very good fundamentals. Not very many, but one of them that comes to mind: solve problems at the lowest level. If you and I, as neighbors, are having some kind of issue, hey, we are going to talk about it. We'll see what goes on. If we can't resolve it, we will expand from there. Everybody just went straight to Obama and straight to the president, straight to the top. And okay, solve the problem. And I pencil whip the problem away. And then it just like didn't really solve anything. We should be able to legally get married as gay people. Great, you can get married. Well, every church has to marry us though. Like, no, that's not what we said. Well, the military has to let us in now. Well, don't ask, don't tell. Pfft, it's gone now. And just this macro solution to a micro problem was made, and and I'm picking on the gay community. I don't mean to. That's one example. Trust me, there's lots of them. That's just one example.
Yeah.
I gotta talk directly to the internet when I say things like this. I mean, anybody who watches this show knows I'm not like anti-gay, but you've been kind of a thorn in the ass, and the trans community
There's a number of people who, and that's the thing, is that they see a window of opportunity to expand their life's entitlements. It's not even really options, because we all have options. And it's that give an inch, take a mile. It's like if you offer me a piece of cake and I come up and cut the cake in half and take half of it, and I'm like, well, you offered it to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I want cake for later.
You offered me your French fries earlier. I didn't eat all of them. I ate a few of them. Like,
you could have just scooped them into yours and then walked away. And they're like, well, I appreciate it, buddy. But the fact of the matter is that there's a sense of, being humble, being self-aware, being aware of others, and saying like, well, maybe if they're willing to give me an olive branch, maybe I don't just cut down the whole tree. Maybe I respect that, and we have this back and forth, a little quid pro quo, and everybody works together, and that's really the balance that's missing right now in today's world. Is they want to take as much as they can get, and I'm not talking about one group of people, I'm talking about everybody. The victim culture. It's a lot.
Am I a woman? Am I black? Am I Mexican? Am I an immigrant?
Whatever it could be.
It just keeps freaking going. Yeah, I'm a dog now.
Do I deserve somebody to take care of me? Like, I don't want to work. I want a check.
I'm transgender. My thing needs to go to the top of the list. And we talked earlier about like,
my thing is always more important than everybody else's.
My cosmetic surgery is the most important. I need to have this. Like, not for children. You are not on the right side of history, period, if you think that children need to be sterilized and given and removing healthy reproductive organs.
Yeah.
That is the most mind-blowing thing. Like, this is a Twilight Zone episode or Black Mirror or The Outer Limits. And like, you got to be kidding me. You tell my child he's not a boy, I'm going to break your face. No, you stay away from my child.
Yeah, this isn't my child. This isn't my family. This isn't my, and I'm going to now insert myself into the life of other people to push,
because I'm so broken.
I mean, it's like, how do you perceive yourself? It's one thing if like somebody comes running to you for help. I can understand being like, okay, well, we need to figure this out. We're going to try to do what's best for you, blah, blah, blah. And you just try to be courteous and, show your concern and try to help.
Be empathetic and a good person.
Empathy is great. But the thing is that you don't necessarily go and then insert yourself in the family home,
Yeah.
insert yourself in the family's decisions, insert yourself in medical concepts and options. I mean, that's just outrageous. I don't know how anybody could feel validated or feel like they're the hero of the story when they're really crossing a lot of boundaries. I mean, there are massive boundary crossings involved in that kind of thing, especially if you're a professional. If you work at a school or if you work in a field of medicine, and you're just jumping right into these kind of things. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's not your place, and you don't belong there.
One girl was like, "Oh, I was having a gender dysphoria issue. I went and talked to a doctor for 15 minutes, and they assigned me gender reassignment surgery."
Right. Yeah.
And again, I'm picking on this community a little bit, but this community is toxic. It is literally impeding the progress of all of mankind, making their thing top priority, and it's toxic. It's poison on society. Oh, I went to a restaurant and got misgendered. Okay, fuck off.
Right.
We don't need you. You're worthless. I'm not denying your humanity. I don't not have compassion for you, but you are demanding way too much of my time and attention. The fact that we're even having to talk about this is a waste of time.
That's exactly
dude,
right. You're expecting too much from me. I'm a stranger.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I don't know you.
You're my neighbor. Cool. I'll take care of you. I'll defend you from ridicule and bullying, but you are demanding too much. It's like you bring your truck to me like, hey, I'm gay. I need you to replace my engine.
Mm-hmm.
What did the two things have anything
to
do?
what do they have to do?
As my neighbor, I'll help you replace your engine. But
choices, but
what does that have anything to do with anything?
I'm not beholden to you.
Yeah, why do I need to pay for a new engine for your truck?
I mean,
that's
and that's the thing is, it's like we don't need people to associate an identity with somebody owing them something because of that identity. And that could go for anybody. It doesn't matter if you're white, black, young, old, gay,
Captain Timbuktu,
whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everybody who wakes up in the morning should be able to get up and go out there and do what they want to do, to an extent, as long as they're not society is a shared space.
Yeah.
We are all agreeing to share the economy, the sales and services within the economy, everything. We are sharing that, and that's an automatically agreed upon nonverbal contract.
Yeah.
It's just something that we agree on. As soon as we walk out the door, go to town. If I get in the truck and I drive to town and I get out of the truck and I'm in a parking lot somewhere and there are multiple people and families around, I automatically have agreed to, just by being there, I have agreed to the concept that we're all
parking too close.
Yeah, we're sharing the space. There are certain guidelines that we've developed over time that, like parking spaces, for example, you just said. It's like we gave this much room for each individual car to be able to park so that everybody can enjoy it. And
park
it's
like
fair
this.
for everybody. Yeah. If you park in 2 or 3 spaces, I mean, now you are infringing upon the nonverbal agreement that we all have by arriving at these spaces.
Inherent politeness.
Politeness.
Louis C.K. made a good point. He said, we should all act in a way that this isn't a direct quote, but don't act in a way that if everybody did that, then things would be chaos.
Yeah.
Like there's order, there's lines in the parking lot, there's taxes to be paid, there's holding doors for people. It's inherent politeness. Just be, how
be a part of the machine.
You're going to be old someday and need somebody to hold the door for you or help you load your groceries. So maybe you should help and pay it forward. It's just
no, that's a big one too. Is the idea that if you feel like you trump all others in the sense of, well, my needs are more important than yours, then how could you possibly, on the flip side of that, if you were in need, how could you possibly expect anybody to do anything for you? Because their needs are more important, right? Than yours. Because if yours are more important than theirs, then in their world, because we're all the main characters of our own story.
Yeah.
And I can't expect somebody to come out of their way for me if I'm not willing to do it for them.
Yeah. And the people demanding the most seem to contribute the least. I mean,
that's
if you break,
classic
okay,
scenario.
I sent you the video about the trucker strike. It's like, if you got Trump derangement syndrome to such a degree, okay,
Hmm.
don't patronize any of the businesses. You now have no food. Every
Right.
farmer, every rancher, every truck driver,
Yeah.
all these people are heavy right wing leaning. The people that we don't really need are the left wing leaning people that, I mean,
It doesn't make sense to hate the people who do everything for you.
I mean,
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
but it doesn't make sense. I mean, if the right wanted to make it hurt, we could literally, I mean, I could not plow for people that,
Sure.
you know,
Cut off services.
yeah, I could
Yeah.
literally not plow driveways for people. It's not going to make a count for a penny out of my paycheck.
Sure.
I could literally just, I mean, I've plowed for random people. We became friends on Facebook and heavy right wing people. And I thought, like, I didn't even think, like, hey, if you vote for Democrats, I'm not going to help you. I just won't do it.
It's never
Yeah.
covered. It's never come across my mind at
But
all.
you could.
The idea, yeah, it'd be easy to.
That's why I want to fly a Trump. I mean, Olivia would hate it, but I want to fly a Trump flag. If I have I think we talked about it. We were texting, like,
Mhm.
if you got Trump derangement syndrome to that point, fine. Don't patronize my business. It's
Sure.
not going to matter.
Yeah, but it's a shame that people have to even get that far. It's because we are one system, regardless. I mean, blue and red. I personally think it's sad that we only have those two options in general. But
We have more, but they don't have a stage on the election
have a
platform
stage.
because
They're
of the
not
electoral
welcome
card,
to
the electoral college.
debates. Most Americans, if you asked them tomorrow, well, why don't you just vote for somebody else? They're going to say they're throwing away their vote. And that's just the way it is. Everybody considers the idea of voting for anybody besides blue and red as just throwing away the vote. You might as well not vote at that rate.
Well, that's because of the electoral college, and that's why I would like to see the Democrats get rid of it, because I know it will backfire, because they want to get rid of it because they think it's going to give them an upper hand, like allowing 16-year-olds to vote, et cetera, et cetera. It all of a sudden, the gold party and the green party and the pink party or whatever we're up to now,
Yeah.
all of a sudden now it goes by popular vote. I think it's going to backfire on them.
Probably will.
I mean, I get the electoral college. I understand why it's there, but being that we all have internet access and all this, I feel like, because most people are
We
more
don't
libertarian.
well, that's the thing, is when the Electoral College was developed, it was, we were all sitting back at home without the ability to communicate far
internet.
distances like that. Now we do. It's really, I mean, I understand why they did it, but like I said, we don't need to send somebody ahead for us anymore.
Yeah, I feel like it's outdated.
It is
I mean, I
outdated.
get it. I'm pro electoral college, but the problem is they've rigged and tampered with the election anyway. You
Right.
can send a couple people to 8 different places, the key places in 5 states, and do you know how many people have to be involved? And there's no way that could be done. It's like, well, they did it. We've
Yeah.
seen the graph spikes. Like, the truth reveals itself, and
yeah.
it's if all these things were out of Trump's favor, you'd burn the country to the ground like you did for 3 years when Trump won.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's a secure. Get the fuck out of here! You guys are so full of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not pro-Trump. I'm anti-government, and I think Trump is the anti-government. I think he's an asshole.
Bureaucracy. I'm anti.
Not gonna have him over for dinner.
Yeah, I think that it's a shame that the government lends itself to the gathering of individuals who would seek to corrupt the power that comes with the position. I mean, any position of power is going to draw certain people who wish to take advantage of it. That's just the way it is. I mean, you're never going to just simply have good-hearted, honest people who want nothing but the best for the little guy who's going to come, and they're all going to line up for this position because it's the right thing to do, and they're going to fight for that. But no, you're going to have people that want to come in because it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
If you can take that position and then you can use it to mold the system and develop an amazing, wonderful scenario where all of the people that you're in cahoots with will all get wealthy and powerful, and you all rise to the top of society.
Elitist.
And then history remembers you as the gods and goddesses of the, and that's what you have to watch. We have to be aware of the fact that these positions will draw people who wish to manipulate them,
Yeah.
manipulate us. It's just the way it is. It's a very basic building block of government.
Well,
Well-
the natural order of the animal kingdom of a government is to grow too big and to create elitists and topple over onto its people.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's why term limits. But I mean, Biden has been a professional politician for 5 decades
Yeah, that's the
since he
thing.
was 25
The
years old.
re-election rates are astonishing.
Well, how do they keep getting? How did AOC get reelected? How did she get reelected in the first place? I'd never heard of her. All of a sudden, she was elected. Whatever, she'll go away. Never saw her campaign. Nothing. Oh, she's reelected again.
I think
How?
I saw a statistic
She's an
that
idiot.
said that their re-election odds are in the 90 percentile. So the odds that they will be reelected,
Why?
as opposed to being replaced, because it could be a couple of things. I mean, on the just guessing side, it could be the fact that they don't want to leave office, so they just pad the numbers and reinstitute themselves. On the let's just give some
So
credit to
rigging the
idea.
election.
Rigging the election, destroying the concept of actual voting, just reinserting themselves. I mean,
Yeah.
because who knows? I don't know if my vote counts. You
Probably
really
not.
don't know.
It's not
None
the
of us
man's vote
really
that counts. The
know.
man that counts the votes.
Exactly. Yeah. Once we send those things off, we're no longer in the room watching it all go down. So it's like, I mean, it'd be very easy to do that. It would be very easy to do that, just to oversight the whole thing and just place whatever you want. And CNN and Fox and all these other news stations just put out the numbers that they tell them to, and then we're all sitting there like, oh, okay,
yeah,
well,
that
there you
must
go,
have been it,
4
yep.
more years. And
Biden won by a landslide. Oh, how about that? Okay.
yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think it would happen,
Yeah,
but
5
hey,
red
here we
states
are.
flip blue. He took
Yeah.
all the swing states and
And then they're
couldn't
just
fill a
over there with
basketball
their
court.
crayons coloring in all the states the color they want to,
Yeah.
And and bringing that back around to victim culture. I mean, the fact of the matter is like even they pander to victim culture because it will help to establish more support for for what they are doing.
Well, okay. On that note, why? I mean, I have my theories. Why does government pander to the smallest number of voters? Why do corporations pander to the smallest number of voters? Why do corporations, Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch, giving a can to Dylan Mulvaney and then going, well, why did our stock crash? What happened? It's like, well, you provide beer for frat boys that don't give a shit about this freak show.
Right,
This
right.
weirdo.
Know
Now, if
your
he was sitting
audience.
here, I mean, I will definitely protect him as a person. Be as big of a Fruit Loop as you want, but like, you tried to use him as a marketing thing and you lost, and now you're
Right.
mad at the people that drink your beer.
To some extent. I mean, I feel like I protect people's individual rights to live the life that they want to live within certain parameters. If you're going to start manipulating society, then you're no longer living your own life. You're creating
To terraform society to
yeah.
your needs.
right, which is a problem because it
You're
doesn't.
1/100% of the need. Like,
Yeah.
hang
Doesn't
on,
have to
kid
be
with
a big thing.
leukemia. I need a sex change. I know you're 12 and have leukemia, but I'm not right in my own body because my single, divorced wine mom, half bisexual lesbian mom needs validation.
A
So
lot of
now
boxes
all of
there.
her kids are gay because
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that big of a deal. And that's one of the main things is, I understand that social media has become monetized and, for a while now. And people see it as a viable career option because it takes the least amount of effort to establish, as long as you're willing to
small amount of
continue-
effort. I think you hit a key right there.
Yeah.
Small amount of effort for big reward over.
Right. If you just keep producing, and like I said, I understand that. I'm not going to say that I don't think it's a good thing to try for by any means. But when you do it with integrity, just like anything else in life, if you do it with integrity and you do it with a sense of I'm just putting something out there, see what happens, whatever. But when you drive it home with such a hard inquiry of like, I want to affect these people. I want to affect these people so much in this way. Well, now you've already, like, you've jumped into that whole thing. You're affecting everybody else. You're trying to alter their lives by changing the balance of what we've all come to know. That can be okay. I mean, things change. Clinging to the past is not necessarily a good thing because it's never going to work out well for you. You're always going to be let down. But the thing is that when you just jump in and you start trying to rattle everybody's cages so much, you're going to draw negative attention to yourself.
Bake me a cake.
Yeah, it's just
all these
not a good way to do it.
all these corporations flying the gay flag and the creeper flag. That's the transgender flag.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but
nobody had a problem. I mean,
this,
well, some people, but nobody I knew had a problem with anybody before that. Nobody was saying we need to stop these people.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden they try to cram it down everybody's throat,
and then you rattle the cage,
see, they're against us because they don't want us reading their kids.
Right.
Like, oh my God, all these corporations are flying our flag, but this one small business wouldn't bake me a cake for a ceremony they don't believe in. They wouldn't abandon their values for me. I'm such a victim. That is the most mind-blowingly ridiculous, dude. I mean, that's one of those tipping points where people that were against you are now more against you. Mm-hmm. People on the fence are now kind of against you. People that were with you are now against you.
Of you coming out.
Yeah, like, what the hell, dude? And it's been, they keep moving the goalposts. Like, we should be able to, and again, I'm not the greatest example because it's all of them, but it's, the victim worship, like they keep just keep sprinkling on extra things like, well, I'm gay. I like both genders. I'm the other gender. Well, I'm a cat. Well, men can get pregnant now. What in the hell, dude? Yeah. Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Steve Crowder, Brian, what's his face? Who are the other guys? Dennis Souza.
There's a long list.
There's a long list of these guys who've beat the shit out of this conversation. Like, why is this such a priority? Charlie Kirk should be teaching economics. Candace Owens should be teaching something. Ben Shapiro should be teaching law. And here we are talking about this ridiculous issue that won't fucking go away.
Yeah. It really has no place in society. It's got no bearing. It's got no true effect. The individuals who are affected by it are minuscule in terms of the importance of a society's operations. They just are. Sorry, I'm fairly minuscule. If I die tomorrow, society will go on.
Yeah.
Right? If any of these individuals who are out there preaching all of these outrageous claims, if they all died tomorrow, society would go on. The fact of the matter is that, we all want to be, like I said, the main character of our own story, the hero of our own story, and that's fine.
You're a villain in somebody else's story, I guarantee.
Oh, we're all the villain
Your
in somebody else's story. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
You're going to be, in somebody else's story, you're either nobody, or you're the funny guy, or you're something else. Doesn't matter. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is that people need to go back to realize, and people used to know, that they are human beings. We are human beings. We live in this great big world, and we have this great big thing that we call society and culture. And there's a lot of cultures, but they all exist within the span of the human race. I mean, we are all the same species, and we all have varying ways of doing things. But the thing of the matter is that you can't ask an entire society to cripple itself just for you. Can't do it. You have to acknowledge the fact that
you nailed it again. That's just what they're doing.
It is what they're doing. They want to see the whole thing take a knee beneath them while they educate it on their personal beliefs. And it's like, I'm sorry, but no, it doesn't matter. Go back home, close your home door.
Get a better hobby.
Well,
being on the internet all the time is not a good hobby.
No, it's not a good hobby, and it's not healthy to obsess yourself over these kind of things like gender and all these things. It's just not healthy. It's like what it all boils down to is in the beginning of the world, organisms grew to be able to reproduce. Okay, they've done this in a few different ways, but we we have male and female sex organs that help to combine genetic material
And
that
we
in
procreate.
turn procreates into another generation that continues to do the same thing. Now, if for some reason the system gets completely clogged up and we have to change the species, we'd probably end up having to do that, or we would go extinct, one way or the other. But the way that the world actually turned out is that we are male, female, sperm, egg, reproduction, chromosomes, genetics, being. And then that being goes back into the world and does the same thing. So you can't just make it up. You can't just say, well, I think that there's 56 different kinds. I understand what they're doing. I understand it. They're saying that sex is different than gender. But what they're doing is they're taking gender,
We're all
which
our own gender then.
correlates. Well, and gender correlates to sex.
Yeah.
You know, it does. Gender and sex do have a correlation.
Yeah.
And you can't dismiss that correlation simply and just say that, well, we want to recategorize and rewrite. And I've actually heard some people say that on the internet. You know, well, we make up words so we can be we're capable of remaking the definition. We can reword them, rewire them, alter them to fit our specifics. And I'm like, no, you know, honestly, we've already been there. We've been building the dictionary for a long time. We've had multiple languages across several different
They,
cultures
them.
all over. Yeah, you know,
COVID boredom.
yeah, and we've come up with the fact that, you know, this is what we have to work with, and you can't just change it to
They're at
whatever
war
you
with
want.
the English language. Like, are they them that's coming to dinner tonight?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus criminy. Like,
No, just admit it to yourself and admit it to everybody else that, you know, society does have a shared agreement of this. We all learned the words when we were growing up because those were the words that meant those things. You know, you can't just come in, take your father's something that he's built, destroy it, and rebuild it in your own. I mean, it's not
can't
right.
build a house without triangles.
Yeah, it's just not right.
So, my next question: what is with the people that anything they hear, they will die on that hill? I know
Oh,
people
yeah.
like, oh, well, I've been taking psychology classes for all these years, and gender dysphoria. Oh, I've been studying this for years. My sister, who has a degree in psychology, may or may not be relevant. Give me a second. You got to address the internet specifically on this.
Yeah.
I was like, did you ever read into anything on gender dysphoria? And she was just like, I might have read a paragraph, but yet I know this other person who was in college for a lot of years, again, has been out of college for 10 years now. I know everything about this, and this has been a thing for a lot of years. Yes, it did exist, but it got squashed out because it didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
What is with the uprising of people supporting these fringe minority groups of people that show up? Well, and just anything they come up with, they just support and will die on that hill.
Yeah.
Is because they see themselves as a victim, but their thing isn't trending.
I think it's a lot of ego. I think it's a huge amount of ego. You know, we all know what ego is these days because people talk about it so much. We talk about narcissists, and we have these, you know, buzzwords or sizzle words that we like to use because they really define the problem while being popularized in media and social media. But, you know, it really boils down to ego. It's like if you are so certain that you are right and perfect and incapable of flaw, that you will die on a hill of inaccuracy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's, you know, then it really boils down to
delusion.
you having an delusion. Yeah, you have an ego issue. You're not willing to admit that you're wrong. You see yourself as the perfect being in certain ways. Most people do have self-esteem issues in some fashion. Maybe it's height, weight, could be eyes being too close,
barely short of 6 foot tall,
whatever, you know, things like that. Yeah, I mean, everybody has something that they, you know, but then a lot of people in today's world, they build their ego so much, and I don't know if it's because of, you know, maybe it has something to do with the way we all grew up, you know, with television and the internet, you know, where you could be anything or claim to be anything. I don't know. But I do know that there's an immense amount of ego in the air. 100 years ago, people knew that they weren't immaculate. I mean, it was real easy to fall on your face and know it.
Yep. You got to pull
Because-
your weight because society ain't going to take care of you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, before things were so simple in what I guess everybody's come to call modernity, which is the modern age and where everything is built up to what it is now. Prior to that, you had to pull your own weight. You had to make your life. You had to build a life, or you had to, marry into one, or you had to, it wasn't as easy as it is today to just make it all up and be so cocksure of your own ideals without having to do anything.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these people don't have to do anything. And even the Matt Walshes and the other guys, Candace Owens and stuff. I mean, what do they do?
Other than
They
call
talk.
people out on their bullshit.
Well, pretty much. I mean, it's all thoughts and concepts and arguing.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything. They're not producing anything. If the internet fell apart tomorrow and let's say the sun did its little storm and we all lost electricity, right? What are they going to produce? Are they going to go out there and build houses and make gunpowder and develop things? No. It's real easy to feel full of yourself when you think that you're above all these things. But if the world ripped that away from you tomorrow, you would have to look at yourself and be like, wow, what can I do? What am I capable of?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree about using those people as examples, but that's like at least 40% of society.
Sure.
I mean, again, you can build houses, you can weld, we can fix trucks, we can do all this shit.
Yeah.
Society collapses, that's going to be most people that are going to have nothing to offer.
And a lot of those,
I
that's
do
what I'm saying.
feel
That's where the
Well, right.
mass amount of these people who have the ego issue, they have it because they've never been really checked with reality. Reality's
Well-
never come to their door and beaten it down and said, survive.
well, but
So it's real easy to just...
I do feel like they will still be Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro. I still feel like they'd be very good leaders because you still kind of need some kind of delegator, somebody to say, hey, if you crash a plane on an island someplace, you're going to have a government. If the pilots survive, they say, hey, blah, 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 this and that. Hey, who has medical knowledge? Hey, who's an electrician? Can you get the radio going? Hey, who's a diesel guy? Can you do this? Hey, who's a carpenter? Can you go make a shelter?
Right.
You're going to have somebody delegate something.
Yeah,
and
but
may
if
not
you're,
do
if
a
you're
goddamn
capable
thing.
of doing all of those things,
But I can't.
and delegating,
Yeah.
if you can say like,
But
well,
nobody
I
can do all those
understand
things.
why. Well, yeah, but at the same time,
I mean, you're not. I mean, if I pulled that Pac-Man game apart over there, I mean, I can't.
there'd probably be some things we'd have to. work
Oh,
through.
you and I would both. Like,
I think we could probably figure it out. Though.
Oh, well, we could, but we're not on a desert island
But
either. We got the
that's
internet.
the thing is if we're but the problem is when you trade in ideas, that's great in a world where ideas have value, but
Yeah.
in a world where ideas really don't have much value because they don't put food on the table,
Yeah.
they're not very valid.
Well, like I said, if oh crap, who the hell was I talking about earlier when I was like, well, if society goes down, I mean, who's going to keep the tractors running? Who's going to get food going? Who's
Yeah.
going to keep the power grid up?
Right.
It's going to be guys like you and me. Oh, I was saying if liberals really had a problem with us, then they'd stop patronizing our businesses.
Right,
I would
yeah.
love to just be like, no, if you're a liberal, I'm just not going to build your house.
Yeah.
Now, I happen to be in an environment where,
Yeah.
I mean, the people building houses, the liberals have no money. They're just a
Right.
bunch of hippies with no jobs, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in their demographic of people that need work anyway.
Sure.
So
Yeah. But by saying that, I actually personally think that given the circumstances of today, we do need people who are willing to put themselves out there, put it all on the line, say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I think, and I'm not willing to back down. And we need those people because there's a lot of people who buckle under the weight of criticism
Yeah.
and scrutiny. So you need those people, and so I think that there's value in that. But I do think that society as a whole, and I included those people because I don't think they're above that by any means. I think they're a part of it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all, they're capitalizing on these people. If they weren't capitalizing on the people that they are
Arguing with.
debating with,
Yeah.
then they would just simply ignore them, cut them off, take away any screen time.
Which they
put
should
them-
anyway.
Yeah, why put them on the internet and on television or in movie theaters on screens? Why put them there for everyone to see
Don't
and
like
to get a
it?
taste?
Don't share it. Don't comment on it. If they stop
Yeah,
talking,
wipe it away.
they would go away, and their thing isn't trending anymore.
But then they don't have a platform.
They are perpetuating these people.
They
and
are,
their-
because it's for
so
it's their own personal
we're gonna
gain,
take a quick,
which is fine.
We're gonna take a quick break. Hold that thought.
Okay.
So. Okay, we're back. Go ahead, Aaron. You were talking about some of the right-wing spokesmen talking about all these issues, and they kind of don't shut the hell up about it. Like, they've been talking about it nonstop for like 5 years now, and they don't
Sure.
seem to like move on from it. Them continuing to do this gives these people a platform to argue on, and I mean, come on,
Well,
let's move on here.
Well, and I think that some of it, the reason I was bringing them up is less to lump them into the same group, of course, as the other. Because once again, I agree with their perspectives. I align my point of view more with those people than some of the people they're constantly debating. But the concept of ego, where we have to prevail, we have to be right, we have to be special and more important than everybody else, and a lot of that is just bullshit.
Yeah.
It really is. It's bullshit. It's like, just let go. Admit that you're a human being. You're flawed. You might be wrong. Just because you read something on Reddit or on Google doesn't mean you're totally right. Like, I'll do research on a topic, and I'll learn. And then if I share what I've learned, try and just be part of the conversation, and it comes back that that there is other information. Maybe I was completely wrong. Maybe I was right about one thing, but not about another. Being open to that and saying, okay, well, that's very interesting. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. Or, wow, I read this. Now, why do you think that those things don't align?
Got to update your opinion based on more information.
You do. You have to be fluid. You have to be willing to adjust to the environment as the environment changes. Just because you think you're right doesn't mean you are.
Yeah.
And if you are willing to just keep driving that home until it all falls apart, you're doing yourself a disservice. You look terrible in front of other people. Somebody who's humble, who can be thoughtful enough to do the research and to build a perspective, and then also be willing to acknowledge the fact that maybe some things have changed, information has changed, things like that. Those people are more respectable in my mind than somebody who's just, I read one thing, this is it, I'm right, you're wrong.
Well, it's like when media gives you a 10-second video clip and you make up your mind, and then you see the rest of the video clips from 19 different angles, and you still just keep your same initial reaction. Like, no, like you literally, that's not all what they just showed. That's not all what happened.
Well, I think that in today's world with AI, with the internet being what it is, we all know people falsify information and then post things.
I mean, they have been for 20 years, 50 years.
Like, I could say right now, Eric and I, we're in beautiful Cancun, Mexico.
Yeah.
We're going to get some Mai Tais here in a minute. And the fact of the matter is, this is not true. We're in Alaska, but I could falsify that information. I could sell it to you. And then you'd say, oh yeah, that Eric guy, he was down in Cancun. I just saw that.
Well, people do that to fake influencers. They take pictures on somebody's Learjet and then fly commercial to France and then take pictures. And it's like, well, these people are making money off of you envying a life that you don't even have. Get off your phone, dude. If
live your life.
Society collapsed and the internet stopped being a thing tomorrow, like, But I don't know, 50,000, 80,000 people would go broke in about 4 seconds.
Oh, big
yes,
time.
I
Yeah.
have a YouTube channel, but I'm not sitting here faking a life. I talk very little about my personal life. I'm talking about, things I think people would find interesting, or doomsday prepping, or, talking
Concepts that you find interesting,
Yeah.
that you're educated on. Also, the things that we all know are affecting the world around us. Because, and that goes back to the old things. It's
Not
like,
just,
I mean, if
here
you
my-
ignore something completely and just hope it goes away, and then it
a
doesn't,
lot of these things will, but
and then it festers, So to an extent, you have to get involved, and you have to say what you think, and highlight the inaccuracies of what's happening around you. You kind of have to do that. But also,
we're not girls that can have my tits and ass hanging out either. At the gym and all their bullshit, and it's just, the influencers. And I did a episode about John Dorsey. Again, big shout out. He is an anti-influencer. He's calling all these people out on their gym bullshit and their fake pictures and everything else.
Yeah.
But
Which is
he's
fine.
just like, no, this is not how you do things. And the dude's a freaking badass. Like, the more people come after him, the more he can flex. Like, oh, well, you didn't even graduate grade school. He's like, yeah, I have a degree in law from University of Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, I think.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
And a Juris Doctor certificate you have to have to practice law. Like,
Sure.
I think I'm guessing. I
So
said
he's
this in-
accomplished a thing or two.
Yeah, I think he did something in computer forensics. I'm guessing, because he's very good at like picking things out.
Sure.
But so many of these people just making up bullshit, and then somebody comes along and calls them out, and then all of a sudden they're a victim. Like, how dare you call me
Trolls.
out? It's
Yeah,
like,
trolls
you're a
who
troll. It's
feel
like, no, you're
victimized.
lying. You're a fraud. You can't make up a workout. You can't make up a workout product and just, oh, it's good to go because look at my body that's even fake. No, and that goes for so many things. It's the media. We've all seen that picture of Air Force Two or whatever when Kamala Harris showed up to campaign, and there's no reflection of a crowd in the and the engines are on the plane. Oh, well, that's fake. Well, what's fake? The lack of crowd in the reflection, or the crowd itself? Which do you think I think is the fake thing? The crowd or the lack of reflection?
Right.
It's the lack of reflection that's real.
Yeah.
The crowd is
of
fake.
course, absolutely.
Dude, get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here.
It's hilarious that's the world we live in now, where it's so easy to falsify imagery. It's vocals, auditory, video.
But it gets
It's
called
so
out
easy.
so it gets debunked so easy too. Or did it though? I mean, I don't even know at this point. Like,
I think that there's still some good old fashioned cyber warriors out there who are willing to take the time, because granted most of them work online anyway, so they just have a lot of time. But they're out there, they're hunting down the inaccuracies. But then it comes down to anybody with a keen eye and a little bit of common sense could probably find most of the weirdnesses. I've gotten to the point where I pretty much assume most of everything I see on the internet is bullshit until I see more that will give me the concept that it's real. But I assume most everybody's just in it for the money, and that it's all bullshit. And at least I'll never be disappointed that way.
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if I just assume that everybody online is lying, like you guys could assume that we're lying right now, and that's fine, because at least you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
If it comes out that Eric is actually a woman and a multi-billionaire who's selling you guys this concept.
But what do we have to gain from lying to you though? I got nothing to gain here.
Well, no, we
And
don't.
That's a lot of things
And
too.
that's
Those are the people I
something to think
believe.
about.
Like,
Yeah.
I've got nothing to gain.
Yeah. What do you
I
have to
only
gain?
have something to gain if I'm telling you the truth to the best of my knowledge.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a good. That's a good idea.
I'm not
yeah.
trying to become a YouTube millionaire. I didn't even want to have a YouTube channel because I don't want to deal with the backlash and the bullshit.
There's a lot
Somebody
of
shows
that,
up and says that my
criticism.
backdrop is stupid and I need to trim my beard because they don't like my opinion on a freaking movie review.
Yeah. They
Like,
attack
dude,
you.
I got better shit to do. I mean, I always say, hey, I would like to hear your opinion. I'm not saying
On the
sit here and
topics.
personally attack me
Yeah, on
for
the
no
topics.
fucking reason.
Well,
come and sit here and talk in front of me. See how long you live.
well, you know what they say. I mean, anybody who starts attacking you in a debating type conversation, they don't have anything to offer. They've lost.
Oh,
They
you spelled
realize
this word
that-
wrong.
Yeah, it's because they don't have a foot to stand on.
Yeah.
So then they start attacking you to take another position because
Yeah.
they don't have anything to work with.
Got no facts or anything to
Yeah.
back it up, or
Yeah, yeah.
which is crazy to me. This lady down in New York, I was talking to this guy about political stuff, and this lady's like, "Oh, do you want some alternative facts?" I'm, of course, down in New York, left wing liberal. Oh, Trump said that to drink bleach to get rid of COVID. Give me the video. Let me see. Oh, I got it. He said that
Is that what
verbatim.
happened?
He said that verbatim. Drink bleach
funny.
to get rid of COVID.
Well,
'cause
then we
no,
better
he didn't.
do it.
Well, hang on. Let me go find it. She looked at her phone for like 2 seconds and was like, "Oh, well, you just say it was AI or fake or something." Yeah, because you can't back it up. He
Right.
did not say that. He said we need to disinfect our insides. He did not say drink disinfectant.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
fucking video. How in the hell are you coming up with these ridiculous things like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Trump said this and that? No, he didn't. Well, that's what he meant.
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Well, you could take that back to victimized culture as well. Is that if they don't feel powerful, then they victimize themselves by saying you're just a horrible human being. Look what I'm dealing with, you know. And then that attacking is a form of victimizing themselves in a way, because what they're doing is they're trying to discredit you through making you seem like this horrible individual that they're somehow having to deal with. You
And
know?
to go along with your thing that you made up 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, yeah, and it's there's a lot of that victimizing stuff going on, and it sucks, man. I wish very much that I could see, you know, I don't, you know, no decade is perfect. That we romanticize certain time periods in life, but they all had their problems, and none of them were great. But the thing is that I wish we could see a country right now
You know,
where
4 years before Biden were pretty fucking awesome.
they were better, but we need people who are willing to be more into being productive and
Contributing.
contributing.
Do projects, learn something, weld
Yeah.
something, paint something.
Do something good and stop
Yeah.
being so, you know, just selfish, really. And I'm not saying like pay for everybody's stuff or put yourself in the gutter because somebody else wants to take your life. Like, none of that stuff. It's just a matter of like, stop worrying so much about all of the bullshit and stop victimizing yourselves. Go out there and pick up something, find something that you really enjoy and get so damn good at it that people are willing to pay you to do it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, if somebody disagrees with you, let it roll off your back. Just
Yeah.
don't worry about it. Fine, that's okay. Yeah, we don't see eye to eye. That's okay, man.
Yeah.
Hey, more power to you, you know? And then that's it. And it doesn't have to be a massive cultural movement of I'm somehow held down, you know? It's like, because you're not. You
Yeah.
could totally rise. The cream rises to the top. Like, that's a classic saying for
Yeah.
a reason, you know?
I mean, I've never seen somebody work really hard and not succeed. Maybe not succeed like we think. Like you and I work hard. We're doing okay.
Yeah, we're not
We're
multimillionaires.
struggling a bit because we got a weird economy,
Sure.
but we're not, you know, back
We're
in the
blessed
Trump
that
economy.
we're not struggling. We're just not excelling at the
Like-
rate
like
we
we'd
should.
hoped, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the Trump economy, it was, oh, I'm just going to go on success strike until you make an environment where it's easy for me.
Yeah.
And then those people are doing fine now because their wages went up, but their dollar is worth less. So they're making the same amount, but they're going around and gloating and, well, you just need to figure it out. You just need to do good on your own. It's like, dude, you have any idea how much better I'm doing than you are? You have no idea. I build houses. You answer phones. Who in the hell do you think you are?
Well, that goes
you are
back to
not
that
even
concept
close to
of, like-
our caliber.
Yeah. If you're not truly producing anything and you're just holding up the illusion of production, then you're not really valuable. You know, like
Well, I mean, it's okay. I mean, if
I'm not
society
saying you're
collapsed,
not valuable as a human being. I'm just saying you're not valuable in
In
the
job
sense that we
skills.
should all bow to you and thank
Yeah.
God you're alive and
Yeah.
around here.
I mean, I'm very okay with, I mean, if society collapses, these people that don't really have a physical trade to offer, cool, that's fine. We can keep you around, but you're going to have to learn how to dig holes and
You
chop
have
wood
to
real quick,
participate. Yeah.
which is real easy to do. But
just like the rest of us. I mean,
Yeah,
we participate right now.
but there's somebody, it's us who's going to have to teach you to do it, and you'd better figure it out quick, or we're going to get very angry very quick.
Oh, that happens on every job
Oh.
site. Anytime you're green on a job site,
Yeah.
like somebody's
They're
going
going
to
to
get
get
pissed
very
off
frustrated
with you.
if you don't figure it out real quick.
Right.
Real quick.
Yeah, I've never seen a greenhorn who didn't get bitched at least once.
Yeah.
You know.
Or just, you know, which is frustrating. I mean, I've been on plenty of jobs, and I had a good aptitude where I figured out and learned real quick, but
Yeah, of
I didn't
course,
necessarily get real good real quick. Like, here's how to cut this wood, but did I do it perfect every time? Like, well, it takes practice. You got to build the motor skills.
There's terminology,
muscle memory,
there's,
and
you know, generalized spacing versus like, oh, this is a custom job. There's a lot of ins and outs that go into it. But the simple fact is that you have to overcome the basics before you can start to understand the rest of it. And
Yeah.
like while you're overcoming the basics, you're going to make mistakes, and people are going to get upset about it. It doesn't matter, you know. But the thing is that if you're trying hard and you're really putting your
you're
best foot
hustling.
forwards, and you're not victimizing yourself, like, oh my God, this guy yelled at me. How could he possibly do that to me? This is me we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, okay, maybe just let it go. Like maybe
Yeah.
you fucked up, maybe you didn't. Maybe you did a shitty job, maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe that guy had a bad day. Who cares? Fact of the matter is that you got to keep pressing on. You can't simply fall apart and just wither away. You have to be able to rise above that stuff. I mean, that's just the way of the world.
Yeah.
Just the way of the world. It doesn't matter if you're in office politics or not. I did the suit and tie job for quite a long time, and I had many people who, you know, they would try to capitalize on your accomplishments, take credit for your work, you know, or they would just simply lie to people to try to get ahead in a multitude of ways, you know. And there's a lot of difficulty in the world. There's always going to be. There's never going to be a deficiency of people who are willing to put you in a position that you don't want to be in.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So what do you do? Do you get mad? Do you quit? Do you, because if you quit, you're only doing yourself a disservice.
Maybe not. There's a lot of situations I can think of where I should have walked
Oh, well,
off
sometimes
a
you
long
should
time
walk
ago.
away. Yeah, no,
but
that's fair.
That's
fair. Sometimes you should walk away from a bad
Yeah.
situation. I can see that.
But you can't get frustrated and just give up too easily.
You can't give
also.
up on yourself.
Yeah.
You can't give up on yourself and become
Like it's
the victim.
construction. Like you're gonna quit this job and you're gonna go work for another asshole. You got to figure it out and learn to learn the way they teach, because they can't teach the way their 30 employees will learn. You have to absorb how they're instructing you.
Yeah. But if you're going to walk away with integrity.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing about what you just said is like, yeah, if you're going to walk away, it's because you know that this isn't up to par with your standard, but you're not going to victimize yourself and be like, well, look at what he did to me.
Yeah.
Look at how, I'm blah, blah,
he's
blah.
such an asshole. I just can't
Yeah.
work for a guy like that. It's like, well, you're in the wrong industry, because that's every guy.
Walk
And
away
there's
with
degrees.
integrity.
There's people that you and I have both worked for that are just like, holy shit, you're unworkforable. How the hell?
Yeah.
And then you have your average person, you have your really nice guy that ruin it for, the average person.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like construction is a really good example, or mechanicking or whatever. Like
Yeah. But if you can hold
it's-
your head high, that's the most important thing.
it's insanely hard to follow instructions when it comes to mechanicking or construction.
It is.
Really hard, because okay, you basically lined me out, but like I can fill in the blanks and I can just do the thing, or I can ask you every 3 minutes for some extra instruction, or
Well, nobody wants
I mean,
to
shit,
ask again after
if
you
need help, ask questions. if that's fine, but then you ask questions and they're mad, just do as you're told, and it's shit.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little difficult to keep up with everything that's going on around you, and you don't want to have to keep asking questions, because then you become that
Like,
guy.
Shit.
So you have to figure it out like on the fly, like, oh,
And then I figure it out, and then I'm wrong for some reason. It's like, well,
Right.
I got the end result. It's not going to fall apart.
I'd rather
I put
rather
19
have an
extra screws in
open-
it.
Yeah, I'd rather have an open dialogue of, well, I want to learn exactly what this is because I don't want to need your help, So like, let me be a burden now,
Yeah.
because right now I can ask all of these stupid questions to you that aren't stupid to me. I can get, all of this stuff out of the way, and then I can be totally knowledgeable. 1 year from now, be totally knowledgeable and be like, okay, cool, I'm here, I'm going to do this. And then I don't need you to come in and tell me what to do every 3 minutes. But if you're constantly in fear over wanting to learn, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very strenuous on both parties, because they're going to assign that concept of like, well, you're just this annoying little thing that can't do anything for himself, but you're like over here like, man, I really just want to learn how to do this job, so like I'm a proponent for the, really train them, bring them up, build them up, make them into something that can do the job, that you can be proud, like, look at that motherfucker can do the job now.
Yeah.
And I think that that's beneficial for both parties. But I don't think that victimizing yourself and making yourself into this poor little helpless, beaten down little, thing, I don't think that's good for anybody. And I think that spans all across society. I don't think that we need people victimizing themselves on their skin colors,
Their gender,
their genders,
their language barrier.
their language barriers, their appearance, weight, any of those things, man. I think we live in a really good time in the world where, we are enjoying so many wonderful technological advances that give us a life that we can really truly enjoy. We're not out there picking in the hot sun, trying to just make clothes. I mean, clothes are available. We can go buy them.
Yeah. China makes those for us.
China makes those for us. That's a problem that we need to talk about.
That is a big problem. But I mean, well, some country's going to be a slave no matter what.
Maybe
so
China's going to take
we're
care
on
of
deck. We're going to be there here next
China's
year.
our daddy.
I promise. Yeah.
Big Daddy China.
Yeah. Provides all of our exported.
It's our sugar daddy.
Yeah, our exported carbon footprint. Oh, America's carbon footprint went down. Well, who does all of our manufacturing? China, that has this high carbon footprint.
We just
like,
displaced
wow,
it. Yeah,
wow. Yeah. A for us, I guess.
Yeah, we did a great job.
Out of here.
Hey, New York and Chicago are cleaner. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if, anywhere else over there is not.
Yeah, it just makes us look good on paper.
Makes us look good.
Big lie and bullshit.
It's like that carbon offset stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's lies. So anyway, but I think you got to get out of here. So we'll probably wrap this up. So
I'm running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got it. Thank you for joining me.
It was fun. Yeah, I think we got to talk about some crucial topics that our society is dealing with today, and I think that we went over a few.
I think we nailed it.
Fun little offsets.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with a lot of things. So anyway, Internet, thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next time, and smash that subscribe button, and make sure to share our video so I can actually make some money doing this and join the elitists that we're complaining about. So
yeah. Check us out.